Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're warm, no matter where you are. Hope you're going to have a good Thanksgiving. This has been a little while in coming, having an update video for our capital campaign in Highlands. And to be honest with you, I've been waiting for the results of our repricing exercise that began after the 50% design development mark was hit at the end of October. But that's just taking honestly too long, and I don't want to leave you without updates. So there will probably be more updates to come in the coming weeks, especially as that repricing comes back and perhaps decisions have to be made, et cetera. But I just wanted to nonetheless give you an update as to where we are. Actually, a lot has been happening, mostly behind the scenes, but that very important work. So without further delay here, I'm going to share my screen and begin this process. Here we go. I hope this is viewable. All right. So this is our site map. This is where we are currently. So our church, obviously, our offices, North 5th Street, etc. And I'm going to show you what we're hoping to do, these really what would be 3 phases. So this is where we are with our first phase. I'm going to maximize this. As you've been told before, we're going to have to eliminate the offices as it gets in the way of the new church. Remember, the new church we want centered on Pine Street that goes through the park across the street. So just a beautiful, wonderful location, something we want to maximize. And originally we had the driveway going into our property on this side, but giving the gradation, we realized that it'd be cheaper to have it on this side. So even though it will be a little tight between the existing church and a new church, we do feel as though that can, in fact, work. What else? So you're seeing here a new lawn. So this will all be very level, and you'll see in phase 2 perhaps a social hall, future social hall over here, making for just a very beautiful just area in between the church and the social hall. And so if we have the money, hopefully we can have a nice lawn where we can congregate, have a tent there for various events, etc. And then something I haven't really shared with you all is this. Between this new lawn and North 5th Street, the idea of having a property sort of terraced. So in order to have just level areas on which to congregate, sort of like slowly walking down to 5th Street, not removing all the trees, definitely keeping especially the larger trees, but thinning things out and having it nice and grassed, and maybe sort of a fire pit, things like that, where we can gather some stairs going from the lawn down to the first terrace step, etc. Very excited about the prospect of this. I think it could be really beautiful. Again, kind of overlooking the park across the street. So it says an Our Lady statue there. I don't know. I think maybe the crucifix would be better suited there. I'm not sure yet. So at any rate, but I did want to share with you that idea at least. So hopefully that can take place. You'll notice that we're aiming for 25 new, well, currently gravel parking spaces. Again, we're trying to save as much money as possible for the big shebang, of course, the church. So there will be an increase of parking by, I think, 7 spaces. And in a future phase, I'll show you there'll be some more parking, I think, down here. And I think that's pretty much it for this phase 1. This little guy's a new mechanical yard, just where some important equipment needs to be that kind of makes noise. And so we're thinking that could be a good place for that. So everything else is the same. So this would be, again, a possible second phase with the idea of a new parish hall being here. Yeah, there are not additional parking spots here at this phase, but yeah, I think that's really the only thing different in this. But again, I'm thinking we can have wonderful outdoor events, in the sun if it's nice outside, or even having a tent here when it's not. And so to go ahead and be making great use of our property. And this would be a potential third phase, which would include the demolition of the rest of the building, and new offices, again, sort of facing the church, as a parish hall would be facing the church. But I mean, that's pretty far. It's beyond the horizon, I think. So who knows? When that may come to fruition, but we'd be planning about 6 new gravel parking spaces there as well. So I think that's it. Let's go. So we'll spend some significant time here. This is the current floor plan. So a lot going on. I guess we'll start from the front of the church and work our way back. So what do we have here? So the narthex, of course, which will also function as a cry room. And I'll show you, we put considerable amount of glass here, so it can perform that secondary function as well. On this side, the women's bathroom with 2 toilets, that'd be in the base of the bell tower. And we're excited. I think I've mentioned this before. We didn't think we'd be able to have a bride's room, but because, see, this is it's not a full commercial elevator because we're not required by law to have one. Nonetheless, there are some other options, some more domestic options. And so there are personal lifts that can perform the function of an elevator for those who truly need that to get to the choir loft. And because that's a smaller footprint, we're able to have a bride's room. So that's a good, wonderful addition. We're happy to be able to have that. On the other side, be walking through a door here, there would be a stairwell. You can ascend it, of course, or you can just keep walking straight to eventually the men's bathroom. Now, this is, you can't get everything in a building. And I did ask them to try hard to get a second stall or toilet in here, but it's prohibited given our footprint and how far along we are with that. So that part is a little unfortunate, but the old church and its bathroom at the front wouldn't be far away. So we could have a little sign encouraging folks to go, out the front door and to the old church and use that bathroom. So anyway, just want to be honest there. Okay, now in the church itself, you all are familiar with the basic layout. And one thing that's of note is that, of course, you've seen the side chapels with a barreled ceiling. And the baptistry decided to go with what's called a groin vault. So it's almost going to look like an X on the ceiling. And really, I should have pulled up an example of a groin vault. But the idea being to highlight the sacrament, because baptism is very important. Baptism and Eucharist are very, very important. And for instance, our Lord, when he's dead on the cross in John's gospel, they pierced his side and outflowed water and blood, okay, which symbolize baptism and the Eucharist. And so I'm trying to highlight baptism in a unique way, and to separate it from the others, because it is the entry into the church. And so the idea of a groin vault on the ceiling, having a sense of like 4 directions, reflects our Lord's great commission to go to the ends of the earth, the 4 corners of the earth, if you will, to proclaim the faith and baptism. And so that's something I don't know, I'm kind of excited about that feature. So we have some images of an early rendition of a baptismal font, but I don't think it's ready for viewing yet. Opposite the baptistry is the confessional, and essentially it's going to look like a confessional booth from the outside, but functionally it's going to be a room. So it'll be large enough for ADA requirements for wheelchair on the penitent side, and then of course for the priest. And let me see if I can show an example. This is going to change. So I'm a little hesitant to show you, but nonetheless, just want to give you a sense of a computer image of what they're thinking for the confessional. This image will not be there. It just is too foreign to the tradition of confessional booths. The image is that of Christ calling Lazarus out of the grave. And so you can imagine somebody leaving the confessional, having their mortal sin confessed. It's as if they're coming out of the grave. So at any rate, a very cool image, but just wanted to give you a sense of perhaps what it's roughly going to look like, though. All right. And then as for the other chapels, not a lot has changed. But I'll show you in a minute, perhaps some available altars that we're looking into. As for the crossing, again, not a lot has changed. Oh, before I forget, we did have to lose a couple more seats again for ADA requirements and wheelchairs. So there are 6 spaces. So you try to meet everybody's desires. Some want to sit up front, others in the back, others kind of in the middle. So that's what we decided. But for the transept altars and areas, again, the altars themselves are not in the scope of this right now, just like in all the furnishings and the beautiful things in the in 4 of the 6 side chapels. They're not currently in the scope. Again, we're aiming for having solid bones of a building, and I'm very, very confident that furnishings will be sponsored, memorialized. They will come. Absolutely. But baptistry will be mostly finished, as well as the confessional, of course. But but we will have the steps ready to go for the Mary and Joseph shrine, etc. So, and then there'll be some exit doors this on either side. And that's pretty much it. So for the sanctuary, the footprint is more or less the same. I will highlight, though, the sacristies. So currently in budget, we have a smaller version of the sacristies, which honestly would feel extremely cramped, because you have a lot of things that need to go in them, and people in and out of them, and working in them, etc. And so you'll see that again and again. Sometimes it only looks like this part's not really there. Other times it looks like it's there. So we are definitely hoping to have the larger version of the sacristies, because we're definitely going to need the space. And so at any rate, we'll see what repricing has to say on these matters. So okay. And as for the Clear Story site, what you'll see is the choir loft, organ council. Looks like about 12 chairs for people there. This space is, if ever in the future we get real pipes for pipe organ, anticipating some space. Of course, the stairs that lead up to the choir loft, mechanical room. So not fun necessarily, but needed. And on the other side, this is the vertical personal lift. And so some storage space, more mechanical space. So, and then let's see so another very strong reason for the larger versions of the sacristies is that more mechanical space needs. I mean, those guys are really hoping that we have the larger version, because on the second floor above the sacristies, there would be space for just all this, all the equipment that's needed to keep the building running. So getting pressure from them as well. I get it. So this version, you don't really see them. So okay, and the roof. And then this is just sort of lighting, things of that nature. And the front, now this is kind of fun to see. You're able to really get a sense of the front and in its settings. So this, of course, is North 5th Street, and then our driveway going in, and then there will be some sort of retaining wall Hopefully it's not concrete. Hopefully we can afford something tasteful, but we shall see. And of course, stairs, so leading right up. And again, these are fountains that come out from the front of the building, and lanterns that give the sense of light and of water and of movement, and the building's alive. And you've seen again and again, behold your mother, dying words of our Lord. And just in case people are confused by that, it's from John, okay, 26. So the statue of Our Lady. And then these things are ghosted, of course, for later editions. All right, in the side, you'll notice, so these be exit doors and little lanterns next to them. And this would be from the office, office side. This is the back, so pretty simple. Don't need to show off anything there. And this would be from if we have that lawn, for instance, and maybe if we're sitting in a future social hall, kind of looking at the church, it'd be framed by this transept, which can be very, very lovely and tasteful. Right, another exit over here by the men's bathroom. Okay, in the inside, okay, the script is actually going to be different. It's going to be the only Latin, and it's going to be hoc est anum corpus meum, for this is my body. But there's going to be script going around the church, and I think more or less selected it, and that will be English drawn from the Douay Rheims, so from that period. And when those get finalized, I think I'll be happy to share those as well. But this is our altar of repose. And actually, I don't think I'll have a crucifix that large. I think oil and canvas will be that of the Holy Trinity with our Lord on the cross in the painting, and thus we'll have a smaller actual crucifix on top of the tabernacle. But again, everything is focused to the most blessed Trinity and through the passion, death, and resurrection of Christ. Christ crucified is the one thing I preach, St. Paul says. And so everything is focused on the triune God. So there's a lot going on in this church, but I'm also hoping that it's balanced with keeping us focused as well. And I'm also considering a way to, for Christmas and Easter, if we can have different images, a Christmas image as well than an Easter image. Again, just to highlight the two main mysteries of our Lord's life here on earth. So at any rate, that is that. And then we have the altar of sacrifice in front here, and better image of the ambo, or the pulpit. I think these will be little figurines of the four evangelists, three of which can be seen here, but just very, very tasteful, very nice. And you will see now these could be hymn boards up here, but there will be air. Is this an air intake? I forget, but a vent. So trying to find ways to put necessary things like vents in places that where it just kind of makes sense, as opposed to some random place. And maybe some of y'all thought I was joking about pouring rose petals through the dome. Oh, we're not joking. This thing's going to have a latch in the works, so that's definitely going to happen. That's going to be so cool. Okay, you have not, I don't think, seen this. So a view of the back of the church. I mentioned before the narthex will double as a cry room, and so we wanted to incorporate a good amount of glass there to facilitate that. Of course, sound, I'm sure, will be piped in, speakers back there, etc. I don't think we're going to have "If you love me, keep my commandments." Of course, this is a bust of our Lord, but rather, I've come to set fire in the earth, and how I wish it was already ablaze. That idea of setting fire in the earth was a very common idea with those early Jesuits, because that's exactly what they did. They rekindled the fire of divine love across the globe. Those early decades and centuries, they did incredible work. And so, at any rate, a bust of our Lord you don't really see very often, but occasionally you do. I think Bernini did one. At any rate, so there's the window that you see in the front of the church, of course, and I always think of like Whoville when they have these figurines. They're supposed to be people. At any rate, and then as you're walking back from communion, this is be the side aisle. These are actually air intakes. And so very large surface area. Why? So it's quiet. We don't want the hum of air intakes, etc. So these architects think of everything. So let's see what else. This is okay. Looking the same image, except being able to see like Superman right through it all. So bride's room, this would be the personal lift, sort of the mini elevator, the women's restroom, etc. And how the stairwell would work. And nothing much there. Okay. And then this little cutout here, there, as I mentioned before, there's a possibility of some altars being available to us from, unfortunately, it's a seminary that they've relocated. They haven't closed entirely, but they relocated it because, it was built for the heyday, with hundreds and hundreds of college seminarians. And so they just, well, whatever. So they're moving from the campus and alienating some things, including some side altars. So we're looking into that, and actually they would fit very well in our little shrine. So there may be an appeal to try to gobble those up, because it would be a steal. But we'll see. We shall see. And is that it? No, I mean these are just very whatever, those vents and stuff like that. So nothing terribly important. So all right, that is it. So like I said, I wanted to keep you updated, and there will be definitely more updates coming without much delay. Again, it's going to be, I think, December 6th is our repricing meeting. So hopefully that won't be a bad day or too bad of a day for me, but we shall see. There are other things going on. For instance, the parking. That's its own conversation, but we're cautiously optimistic about being able to move forward with the parking that you've seen, but that is still very much in process. I did neglect to mention the stone because I've been mentioning, trying to get more stone instead of the stucco, and so we're waiting to see that repricing. And I want to see where we are, and so we can have very concrete number, or at least more concrete numbers, in order to move forward with that, to make sure that this is something that is worth that will last a long time and is very beautiful, etc. So look, I remain excited. This thing's happening. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your pledges and financial contributions. Of course, there's always opportunity to give more if God has blessed you recently. But this is going to be truly incredible. So I'm glad you can be part of it with me. And my door is always open if you have any questions, concerns, anything. This is very much a team effort. So thank you so much again. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and God bless.